Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. If you are a regular viewer of Pastor Gary Live, you may remember that last month I offered you a week of learning about some of the great men and women the Church honors and commemorates in January for their powerful witness to the faith and the things they did to spread and keep the faith. When I finished that week, it seemed to me that that might be a pattern I could repeat each month. So my overall plan is each month of this year, I hope to spend 1 week of the month telling you about these great men and women of faith. I hope you use the stories of their faith to inspire your own faith. Today we want to talk about Ansgar, who was the Archbishop of Hamburg and a missionary to Denmark and Sweden. The story goes back a long way. Ansgar died in the year 885, so his story comes to us from about 1200 years ago. Ansgar has often been called the Apostle to the North, and he was born in the year 801. He became a monk of the Benedictine order and joined a monastery. He was a man of great personal piety and had an unusual ability to organize things and had a love of exploring new lands. When he was born, the church was just starting its efforts to spread the gospel to Scandinavia. Ansgar went to Scandinavia as a missionary in 826 as part of the newly converted King Harold's effort to regain his throne. Harold failed, and Ansgar, who went with him, also met with little success in his missionary work, besides establishing contacts among merchants and travelers from Scandinavia. In the summer of 826, the King of Sweden sent another Christian mission, and Ansgar was chosen to be part of that mission once again. On their way north, Ansgar and his companions were attacked by Viking pirates and robbed, finally arriving at their destination destitute and penniless. The local king, named King Bjorn, and other local authorities gave permission for them to preach about this new faith and to establish a church. Most of the people who were Christians there seemed to have been slaves who had brought their faith with them, but a few Swedes were converted and baptized. One of those was the bailiff to King Bjorn, and at his own expense he built the first Christian church in all of Scandinavia. Ansgar stayed about 1.5 years and then returned home. About 5 years later, Ansgar was made Archbishop of Hamburg with the idea that this would be the base for missionary work in northern Germany and Scandinavia as opportunities arose. For 13 years, Ansgar preached and organized missionary excursions, but in 845 the Vikings destroyed the city of Hamburg by fire, and Sweden and Denmark relapsed into paganism. Ansgar attempted to rebuild what had been lost in terms of establishing the Christian faith, but met again with little success. After he died in 885, all that he had accomplished was lost, and 3 centuries would pass before the attempt to spread Christianity in Scandinavia resumed. Ansgar is seen in Scandinavia as a prophetic figure, and he is often portrayed with a fur collar on his bishop's vestments and holding a church in his hand. In Scandinavia, there are numbers of churches, societies, and educational institutions dedicated to his memory, and even here in North America, there are about 12 churches named for him. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.